Welcome to another episode of the Robert Jean Experience. Today, Robert and I are going off the cuff. We are going to be answering your questions. We will be helping you discover truths and maybe even answer the questions that you've been searching for. I am Crystal Derksen, your co-host, and here is your host, Sir Robert Jean. He is a neuroplastician, drug rehab consultant, a behavioral engineer, and some of you might have heard me say that a few times now. What is a behavioral engineer? Some people might be asking that question. So, Robert, what is a behavioral engineer?
Now, that's a really good question. So what is an engineer? Well, an engineer will create a bridge. They'll look at the what we have over here, what over there, and they're going to create a bridge. They'll create buildings. And so what a behavioral engineer is, we help create better behaviors, changing all the bad behaviors and updating your operating system. So a behavioral engineer knows how to redesign your behavior by moving parts and pieces that created bad behaviors and turned into good behaviors. So it's basically mental mechanics. And that's the good part about my system, is it's not woo-woo, it's not energy, it's not fairy work, and you don't have to believe in it, it works. It's like math. You do this, you get that. That's the nice thing about it. But it could create a belief that I'm in control of my life. I have control now. And so basically, I help people make changes, but I also want to educate them, because they say you can feed a person fish, but if you teach them how to fish, they can do it themselves. And that's what I want people to do, is to take ownership of their life. And so, hey guys, if you really like this content, subscribe, ring the bell, and you'll get the most updated experiences you could ever have in your future. Come join me.
Yes, and learn the skills. And right here on the podcast, Robert answers questions that you are asking, whether you're asking by sending the office an email or you're just thinking of these questions. And it's been a lifelong question. Many people will experience answers by just listening to what Robert has to say.
What I teach really is a philosophy of life, and how to view yourself, and how to view your past, and how to view your future, and how to interact with yourself and with others. So it's really a dynamic system that gives you personal power with all the details. Unfortunately, we were not born with instruction manual, and then we become a project for our parents. That's where they unload all their programming on us, and then we try to figure out how to maneuver through it, and then we say, they screwed me up. Well, they didn't really. They were just teaching you to be like
Right.
that.
Interesting. So let's start right here. How are problems created?
That's a really good question. First of all, there's two parts of us: consciousness and unconsciousness. Now, the unconsciousness is the one that drives pretty much everything. I mean, it knows how to walk across the floor without you trying to build muscle to do it. It's the one that knows how to type on the keyboard, the words magically appear. It's the one that knows how to pick the wrong person that seems to be just like your father, your mother, or stuff. It's the operating system. So there's two parts. Consciously, we see it as a problem. Unconsciously, it sees it as, this is who we are and this is how we do it. And we're trying to keep you safe and alive in alignment with our life structure. So first of all, there's two parts of us. So we see a problem as a problem consciously because we don't like it. But consciously, we're pretty ignorant about the unconscious. And so I call problems in our world today are basically undesirable successful outcomes based on your brain's programming. Now, the problem is we got consciousness and unconsciousness. Consciousness, if it's ignorant, it doesn't know how to drive the unconsciousness, you know what it's going to find? There's a saboteur within me,
Mhm.
but there is no saboteur within. It's just training and programming that's operating without you thinking. So the true saboteur, guys, is not your brain. It's consciousness, because you don't know how to operate the smartest part about you.
Hmm.
Therefore, you're going to have a problem.
Yeah.
So
So,
that's what the problem is.
yeah. So then everyone needs to know how to understand how to drive their own unconscious.
Yeah, understand and have skills and talents. The sad thing is, you can drive your car better than you can drive your brain.
Yeah, that's true.
Sad
Well,
thing.
some people.
Some, yeah, yeah. Well, you talk about emotional regulation, or all the
Yeah.
great sages and teachers said, "Know thyself." And of
Mhm.
course, it's not your birth certificate and your driver's license. They're talking about know what you do within you. You
Right.
know what you do within you, and if what you do within you is not so good, change it. And that's the teachings of Jesus. I mean, Jesus. I mean, his whole teaching was about how the brain works. The mechanics of thought. It's not like some anything else. If you actually read it, I mean, again, the problem is we come from angles of thinking when we look at stuff, and our angle will distort reality.
Yes, exactly. So, what is the main angle that people are viewing it from? So, we live in the Western culture. Many of us have distorted Christian beliefs within us, whether it's
Mhm.
society or parents.
Mhm.
What is the perspective that people hold then?
Well, let's just say it's not just a Christian. It's broad scope for all religions, pretty much all
Okay.
cultures. And basically, I always say, the cause of all problems starts at birth. Had you
Mhm.
not been born, you'd have no problems. That's logical, right?
Right.
And so, since I say problems are successful, undesirable outcomes. So, where does it all begin? It starts at birth, and from the moment you're born, you're exposed to the world. And of course, as a child, you're just helpless. You can't do nothing as a child. You can fill your diapers, make a few faces, cry a little bit, and sleep a lot, right? That's the greatest talent. And if you're born and the parents and everybody who's there left that room and never came back, you're dead. You don't survive. So
Right.
now we look up to these people,
Hmm.
and they're going to actually help create what you think is your personality. So,
Interesting.
by the influences of the world, we start to internalize what we're experiencing. And from whatever we experience, now here's the key: the players in our life will carve out and impact our identity and value system. Right. So we call this the lower model of the world thinking. But so here it is. You're born in this world, and let's say, for example, uh, you were born into this environment, whether you're the first child or the last child or the middle child. Each one of these scenarios have different influences. And I'll say, for example, you were born who looked just like your father, right? Or better yet, the woman whose mother was raped on a snowbank by her father's best friend while he was away on military duty. He comes back, gives birth to this little girl, and guess who he looks like? His her father. Now,
Hmm.
again, do you think that her dad, stepdad, or what do you want to call him, and your
Right.
mother, do you think that their emotional actions will have an impact on this child?
Yes.
Absolutely. And
Hmm.
let's say, for example, you were the golden child. You were the firstborn. They've been practicing to have a baby, and finally you arrived. And all of a sudden, oh my God! And you're the favorite child, and everybody loved you and adored you, and they gave you all kind of special attentions. You did no wrong. You'll have a different life than if you were the last of the Mohicans, the 12th child of the 11 kids, because you're the one that they didn't want, and your mother is worn out because she's had so many kids, and she's going to hand you to your sister or you're at the neighbor next door and give you to them. This is going to impact who you think you are. Or if you're one of the lucky ones, you have a sister or brother older than you and they hated you. They try to kill you, they beat you up, they're mean to you, they roll you up in a carpet and stick you in the closet, they run away, they hide from you. This is going to impact your identity and value too.
Hmm.
So we come into this world and we're like a learning machine. We start gathering information and we start accumulating, organizing it, and we actually start creating what you call a coping skill, how to deal with them.
Hmm.
So Lower Law of the World says basically, I'm a victim to the world.
Hmm.
My body, I'm a victim of my history. I'm a victim of my childhood. I'm a victim of my sex, my identity, the weather, my genetics. I'm a male or a female. I'm a victim. Now that's lower model world thinking. And by
Mhm.
the way, some people never outgrow this. They still living the victim life.
Right. Can you break that down a little bit for those that are just hearing you talk about lower model the world,
Yeah.
higher model the world?
Yeah, lower, again, like I said, lower model world is that you're a victim. Is
Yeah.
that your history screwed you up, the weather screws you up, chemicals screw you up, your parents, your husband, your wife, the president, the ex-president, whatever it is, we're still acting like the child. Some never outgrow that. And so the upper model world is that you start to understand. You start to understand how things work. Now, I call this. I'm going to share with you. And we'll come back to this or remind me the process of change and personal growth. First of all, first step is that you have to take ownership. I have to own my existence. I have to own my problems. I have to own me. I have to take responsibility first. Secondly, you got to seek truth, wisdom. You got to seek some information, something that's going to educate you, to enlighten you, to improve you somehow. So you got to seek truth. Now, a lot of people will find truth, but they don't make it real for them. That means they may find a truth, but they don't make it real. That means they don't practice it. It doesn't become a wisdom for you. Now, a lot of people, they take responsibility somewhat. They seek therapy and they tried 25 therapies. They're still
Okay.
looking. But if a therapy says the cause of your problems is because what happened to you in childhood, you pack your bags up, grab your cigarettes, your whiskey, your beer, and you take off running because, again, we don't want to look there. But the thing is, we have to own what's in our head, and we have to seek truth, and you have to apply the wisdom, right? But what you're going to do when you start searching and trying to find something, you're going to find something super important, and that is, first of all, what I would say is pain drives us. Pain motivates us. So we're learning the mind body connection because you can think of something positive, and guess what happens to your body? It feels positive. If you think of something negative, it feels negative. If you look at bad memories or bad experiences in your mind, it affects you physically. So you're starting to learn that the mind and the body work together. You know, now again, there are systems out there who says it's the body's fault. The body is
Right.
evil. They're
Mhm.
blaming the body, and then other people say, "Stay out of the mind. It's the devil's den." So again, it's like you
Oh,
got these two messages because they don't know
yeah.
what works anyway. I had a son-in-law
Right.
who's Christian, and he goes, "Well, the body is evil." I said, "Really? The body's evil?" I said, "Have you ever experienced God yourself personally?" He goes, "Oh yeah." I said, "How do you know?" He says, "Well, I felt it." I said, "Where'd you feel it at?" "In my body." I said, "I thought you said it was evil." The body is innocent. The body follows the mind. It's not the body's fault. And so again, so then the evolution is okay, the mind affects the body. And then what you're going to do next is you're going to discover not only the mind affects the body, but you'll discover it's the pain that drives you. And by making peace with the pain, which I mean making peace is release the pain,
Mhm.
and then no longer will you be controlled for it. So that, they say what you resist persists, what you're afraid of drives you, what you fear you manifest. So we've got to noticing what we're doing inside of ourselves. And then once we do that, now here's another thing too that's so important. And this is a pivotal moment for me personally, is that we talk about experiences and let's say traumas. And of course, my understanding of trauma is different than most trauma therapists out there because mine is really practical, logical, and it's universal. Is that trauma is not what happened to you. It's not.
Mhm.
It's what your brain captured, grabbed, organized, internalized, and used on you. So when I say, and this is a really big thing, is that when you understand that when you see memories in your mind, you're only seeing what your brain created based on what it witnessed outside of you, which means everything inside you is yours. When you visit a memory of being abused as a child, who's abusing you? You are.
Yeah.
You're
Hmm.
using this memory to reminisce and replay and rehearse and refill and even manifest and attract. Now, that's a really amazing thing. It's not something to guilt yourself over. It's something to say, okay, if it's mine, I can change me, but I can't go back to my history and change what my mom did, my dad did, or anyone else did because it's over and it's not true today. So we're talking about that we internalize the world. So that means we talk about how the brain internalizes the world. And basically, it's super simple. It's called the limbic operating system. It will internalize five basic types of memory: visual memory, pictures, movies, slideshows in your head. Secondly, auditory memory, sounds, voices, music, etc. So our brain will internalize noises, sounds, etc. Then kinesthetics, it means the feelings, the emotional responses, good feelings, bad feelings, feelings without labels. Emotions are just feelings in the body with a label. So how we internalize makes a big role, and then also smell and taste. And of course, there's a lot of variances with smell and taste. And so all of these is what the brain will internalize, organize, and create for you the trauma you've been talking about for 500 years, you know? The lady
Wow.
came to my office. My lady comes in the office. She says, I got to be honest with you. And I said, that's a good start. I said, well, you know, it's like, why would you go to a therapist and lie? You know,
Right. Let's just
I
get
said,
some help.
I said, that's a good start. She said, well, I've seen 14 therapists before you. I said, well, 15's your lucky number.
Right.
And I said, what have you been talking about? What stories have you been sharing for all these therapists? So I wrote every one of these memories down, which she was sharing. And for that next 2 hours, I changed those memories. I helped her change those memories, which means when you go to a memory that was bothering you, crying, and when you go back to it, it looks different, feels differently, and it doesn't affect you.
Hmm.
That's amazing. Now, remember, if Lord My World says they screwed me up, you can't change them.
That's right. You
You're
can.
always looking outside. You can't change them, but you can change how you internalize, hold, and represent things. And that's the game changer. Because
Yeah.
if you think about it, it's just your stories, you know? It's just
Yeah.
your stories.
That's right. And these, like, you just talked about the structure of memories. You talked
Hmm.
about everything the structure of the whole memory. And that is how people, along with that, there's beliefs, the emotions, the
Hmm.
stories, and
Hmm.
everything tangled
Hmm.
into there. But your system, it goes directly to it. It's easy. It's not like
Hmm.
it's the approach is not something difficult. It's not something that you have to hang on to. This is not hard. So for someone that wants to change these memories and they're listening to you, they just want to know, how do you do this? So how do you change these memories?
Yeah.
And we want to be able to, we want to help them to
Right.
change these memories. What
Right.
would you, what would you say to them?
Well, first of all, if you don't understand,
Hmm.
here's an example, I bought a Dodge truck, a really nice Dodge truck. And the type of person I'm going to buy the best I can buy, possibly, the money I have. So I
Right.
got this Dodge truck, leather, sunroof, four-wheel drive, all the bells and whistle. I usually get the Longhorn brand. I'm a Dodge Mopar guy, right? So I got the best of the best that I can afford, right? And I've changed tires. I changed 1,000 tires, right? And so here it is. I'm driving this truck and I get a flat.
Hmm.
I couldn't change the tire. I didn't know how. I
Hmm.
couldn't figure out where the tire was. I couldn't figure out where the jack was. I didn't know how to get it out. So here it is. If you don't know how to do something, guess what you won't do? Change it. Now, here's a bad thing. If you go to people who also don't know how to change memories, and they're going to say your problem is negative energy, or they're going to say your problem is a genetic problem or a past life problem, or it's because of your parents, or because you're male, female, Irish, Scottish, Italian, whatever they're going to say, they're going to point to something outside you, something you can't control. And so when what I do is I educate and I show it's so simple to change memories. Children can do it. I teach them how to do it, and they're going to make adjustments. And so To change memories, you got to understand the playing field and the ideology behind how memories work. First of all, everything inside your mind is a creation, not the actual memory experience. It's your distorted point of view. Secondly, memories. Every character in the memory is yourself because you created these entities, ideas inside you. And thirdly, you can't change the past because it doesn't exist. You can only change how you represent the past. So if you can change how you represent the past, you're going to change yourself. And what is a belief? A belief has two elements that make a belief true. It doesn't matter what belief. So beliefs are generated, created, and held and maintained, one, by proof and internal references, the images, sounds, movies, concepts, sometimes known and unknown. And what gives it reality, makes it feel real, is the body's reaction. We call it stress and emotions, or the physical reaction. So you can change any memory when you update how it's internalized and how you feel it. Then the belief will disappear. You'll change your belief. In order to believe something, you got to have proof internally and kinesthetically. A fear is a belief. A fear is a belief. And of course, I change fears right and left every day. Well, I say most every day, right? So again, it's the man. So you got to understand how beliefs are. Beliefs are created by memories and references. Perception basically is create beliefs. You change your perception, the belief changes.
That's
So
right.
so that's how we're doing. So as I'm walking through the process of change, when you really understand, it's not what happened to you, it's rather how you internalize what happened. You can change how you internalize things. And then the next thing is like, yeah, of course, one of the major teachings that a lot of people teach, one of them, Jesus definitely clearly taught, forgiveness. Now, what is forgiveness? It's not going to your mom and say, I forgive you for being so damn mean, you know?
Right. All right.
It's not gonna see again. So forgiveness, we think we have to go to them and say, hey, I forgive you.
Right. Mm-hmm.
I mean, that's novel, great idea, but here's the problem. Everything they did wrong is still in you.
Mm-hmm.
All those memories, all the references. And by the way, every memory in your head is a program on how to act and perform. That means if you have abusers in your memories, you'll either one attract abusers or you become an abuser, if only by yourself.
Mm-hmm.
So, what I teach is basically ultimate forgiveness. That means the real deal. Now, what's ultimate forgiveness? So, to heal your life or by the way, your life is not sick. Your life isn't broken. You're very successful at whatever you currently are producing. So the true deal about personal transformation is this one thing. I call it ultimate forgiveness, is that you go inside you, you identify every unpleasant memory of what whoever did, whatever happened, and you change it in your mind. You literally change how you represent the other person. By the way, when you say you represent the other person, who's that other person? Yourself, because you create it and you use it for your entertainment, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So ultimate forgiveness is going inside yourself and changing the reasons why you thought you needed to forgive someone outside you.
Mm-hmm.
Major, major. That means you begin to start to build your inner power. Like some people, how do you build your self-esteem? I said, well, it's simple. How do you esteem yourself? I go, I don't know. Something inside me, I do it. I said, exactly. But how do you do it? You do it with memories. If you
Mm-hmm.
have memories of somebody making fun of your body or making fun of you or humiliating you, embarrassing you, controlling you, hurting you, and harming you, that's your esteeming self. Because remember, you internalize those experiences. Even though it's over, it's not true today. It happened 50 years ago or 10 years ago. But who's the movie director of your movies? You are. Those are your movies. You're all actors and players in the movie. So you go and you start changing how you represent things. The nice thing is when you do that, it ends the emotional insanity. The emotional insanity is this. I'm going to go to you and I say, I forgive you for being so mean. I don't change my memories. And so here it is. I feel like, oh, I feel so much better. You gave me a hug and we're all good. But those memories of pain are still inside you. They didn't
Yeah.
change. So next thing
Exactly.
you know, all of a sudden Crystal's head spin, and then she comes out and says something that hurts my feelings again because I never changed my memories. I was emotionally stupid. I think I'm going to say, forgive you, give a hug, it's all good. It doesn't change references. And the sad thing is when you go to Crystal, you say, I forgive you for being so mean to me. She says, screw you. I hope you die a miserable death. Now, what are you going to do?
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So again, it's not about the other person, it's about you. So to improve your life is to understand how your mind works and how to change it. And of
That's right.
course, here's the sad thing is that if you're afraid of your own head,
Mhm.
then you can't be trusted alone. You've got to learn to be your own friend.
Mhm.
You got to learn to be able to adjust what you hold within.
Mhm.
And that's a skill set. It's a mindset. And I mean, Crystal, we worked a little bit and we start finding stuff. You know what happens? Your brain starts making things real in your body and you got a headache, a migraine, and you want to hide under the bed just with
Right.
thoughts and ideas.
Yeah. Hmm.
Because see, when you're a kid growing up, you build this world, this big old world, and you see everything from this world. And then you come and see Robert, and Robert's helping you change, or you trying to start adjusting memories. That system will try to suck you back in to pull you back into the family emotional dynamics. And yet you don't live with your family. You moved to Australia to hide from them, and without you knowing it, they showed up before you got there, but they have different names, different attitudes, and you still
Right.
respond the same.
Yes. So you're still attracting the same people.
Yeah, because you are those people,
Right.
and it's called basically, there's a piece of your brain about this big. It's called the reticular formation. Now, its purpose is to bring into focus what you deem to be important. It's like when you're out in the dating world and let's say you had a controlling mom or dad, and you definitely don't want that, but you go out in the world and that brain goes, oh,
Yeah.
I just feel like I connect with them. They seem to be so nice and wonderful. Next thing you know, they're acting worse than your mom and dad was. Like you amplified the system. And somebody said, I'm getting worse at my pickings. I said, you're not getting worse. You're just compounding your great skills of being miserable. It's a success because
Mhm.
you didn't change the source, which
The
is the
source.
memories and the references of people who harmed you, hurt you, or trained you.
Yes.
Crystal, how
That,
did you get to be how did you get to be a better person today? How did you get there?
hmm. So, I've always thought I was a good person.
In spite of,
Yeah, I've always been a good person in spite of how I was raised.
yeah,
Yeah, how I was treated.
right. But even though you thought you were a good person, then what did you start doing?
I started doing the inner work. I started changing how I saw myself inside of myself,
Mm-hmm.
started changing those memories, the experiences that I had. Um,
Mm-hmm.
when I change memories, I can feel the difference after. So after I've
Mm-hmm.
changed a memory, I know that I'm different.
Right.
It's
Right.
something that was there that I would have said made me me and I identified with. It's
Mm-hmm.
no longer there. So it does feel different.
Right. 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 So change it. So again, you were searching and applying. Right.
True.
Now,
Yeah.
another thing,
Always.
guys, when we say
Always.
change memories, why would you want to change a memory? Someone said, well, that's who I am. I said, well, you're not really who you are. I mean, you hold the memory, you're using the memory, but you're much greater than a memory. And a memory is just data on the cortices of your mind. You can update your data, change how you represent things. You act differently, you feel differently, you become a better, healthier person. But the real deal about you is that you think you are who you are based on your references. Your brain uses those references to create identity. You change identity, you change yourself. But who you really are is what I will say you are a dynamic person who's always changing, improving, and operating. So inside you, we call it the creative force or the survival force. Now, you come in this world, you're innocent. Basically, I mean, if you're born in America, you probably speak English most likely, unless your parents have multiple languages. And so you start learning language and you learn the family language, the family behaviors. But if you go and update the learnings of your mind, you'll speak differently. You'll act differently. You become different because it's called education. So updating memories, you're educating yourself, and memories are just programming. So whatever's in your mind, fighting and arguing, loving and kindness, whatever's in your mind, you're going to replicate. So and so we have this creative force, and so you're born in this world, and then you have bad experiences, so to speak. And on top of this, your creative force will speak through these experiences and create from these experiences. So if you change what's stacked on top of your creative force, such as memories, and again, remember, when you look at your mother and your father fighting, it's training you on how to fight. It's training you how to be a victim or a victimizer. Everything inside you is you. So if you change the memory, update the memory, educate your brain, it says, I don't want this, and you change it from fighting to hugging, kissing, and having a great dinner, then all of a sudden your brain will start manifesting that. But you have to flatten out the bad, embellish it, and turn it into what my brain will use in the future.
Mhm.
So again, you're a very dynamic force, and you're creating what you call a problem, but it's not a problem. It's a successful, undesirable outcome based on recordings.
Mhm. Yeah. So even right now, we're operating out of the recordings.
Without thinking all the time. I call it trance monkey. You're a trance monkey. Monkey see, monkey do. I act just like you and don't even know why I do
So
because of the memories inside you.
mhm.
Even if you hate it. I mean, how many times, guys, you said, I just hate it when I act like that, but I don't know why I do. And you know
Totally.
why you do? Programming.
Hmm.
So again, watching your mom and dad fight, you learn to fight. Greatest number one training in the world is school. You know what the number one training that everybody pretty much has, not everybody, but a lot, fear of public speaking. That is an emotionally trained system in school.
Hmm.
And there's a majority of people have that fear. And the reason is they use fear and intimidation on kids to keep them quiet.
Right.
Others watch, they learn. So I'm not saying anything. And then if you're a talker, you know what they do? They send you home with 1,000 sentence list. I will not speak in class. You have to write 1,000 times. So they're training you to have the fear of public speaking.
Hmm. It's true.
Yeah, that's how the brain works. So
Hmm.
so so in order to build a better life, you got to invest in yourself. And again, this is where the rubber meets the road. This is where you're going to go. If you can go inside yourself and update every unpleasant memory within you, your panic attacks will disappear. Your low self-esteem will disappear. Your anxiety will disappear. You'll start operating in a way that's going to be healthy for you. You'll be a good example for your kids and your grandkids and you won't let people hurt you, harm you because your value is coming from here.
Right. Yes. So where do people go? How do they start doing this?
Skillstochange.com. You can change yourself course.
Hmm.
If you have some big stuff and you're so scared, book a session with me. I'll change it. One of my practitioners will change it. I mean, people have tried so many, and I have so many people testimonials. They give a long list of everything they tried. None of it worked. I mean, they felt better a little bit, but it's still there because the system you go to for transformation or healing, we call it healing, is just transforming. If they're not changing the number one cause, which is memory, you're swatting flies in the dark.
Hmm.
You know, you go to a system that's going to be direct, you know what's going to happen? You're going to feel the anxiety of getting close to your stuff. You're in the right place because they're going to help transform it. Now, again, how many times I've heard this? I'm sure you've heard it too. Yeah, I went to a therapist. I want to kill myself after I left. They open
Yes.
you up. You're raw. Your emotions are floating around, and you got all this stuff stirring around. It didn't happen in my system. We go and we change memories. The memories are changed. You got a result. Now that doesn't mean like if you come in, you got 5,000 memories of being yelled at or some kind of trauma. We clean up 20 of them. You still got a little bit more to do. But you'll notice all the ones that we did, they don't bother you.
Hmm.
So
Yeah.
it's basically unpacking the mental backpack, clean it up.
Yeah. And especially if you've had decades of being that way, and that's your
Mhm.
identity. It's a part
Hmm.
of who you
Hmm.
are. Do you
Yeah.
find that it gets harder for those that are older?
Not necessarily. Not necessarily. I
Okay.
mean, some people, I mean, they do get this bad attitude, I've tried everything, nothing works, so why try?
Yes.
That's a very
Yeah.
common one. It's like
Hmm.
weight loss programs. You try all the diets, all the stuff, pills, you name it. They lose weight, it all comes back plus more. And it's
Right.
because they're not addressing the problem. The problem is not about the food, it's about memories and food trainings around food and value and identity and why you use food. So again, yeah, a lot of people have that because they're chasing things that doesn't work. Now it doesn't mean you can't have good fun. You go to ayahuasca, puke and shit at the same time. You feel good. You have a spiritual moment because you go, oh my God, I'm so glad it's over. You hug everybody, say, oh my, it was a great experience. Or you go to Joe Dispenza, you're having a great time meditating, vegetating. It doesn't mean you're going to change memories. You're having a great social experience. And like church, the buffets afterward makes it worth it all. So again, there's so
I'm
many elements.
laughing. I'm laughing, but I can relate to all those things. It does make you feel good. Like I had a
Yeah,
great time at that meeting. It was so great. And
yeah,
then you go back the same, and you might feel
yeah.
different because of the different relationships and the different
Friendships,
experiences.
yeah.
Yeah.
Could be a happy memory. But when
Yeah.
you go back to the cause of your problems, the memories are still there. You just had a great experience. And to
Yeah.
me, all that stuff is good. There's nothing wrong with it. You create friendships and have friends. But it's
Mhm.
no different than drinking a bottle of Jack Daniels. You're going to have a good time there too.
Right.
But
Exactly.
it'll all fade off, and then usually you have bigger problems later with Jack Daniels, meth, cocaine, heroin, shopping.
Mhm.
This lady, she says, "Oh, I got 12 pairs of the same shoe." Because anytime she's stressed out, lonely, and bored, she finds herself shopping. And
Mm.
she has a tendency to buy the same stuff. And it
Interesting.
makes her feel good while she does it. Now she's got credit card debts out the wazoo and has a house full of stuff. She can't walk through the house very easily because her
Right.
coping skill creates a new problem.
Hmm. So we have to know how to change these memories. Like you, in the beginning of the podcast, you talked about we weren't given a manual for our life. Like
Mm-mm.
here, this
Mm-mm.
is how you use your brain here, but you really created an operating system that does work.
Yeah.
I
Oh yeah.
I do have a question with this. Do you think that the way we are created, do you think that somehow you already know this is going to be a weirdo question, aren't you? You're giving
Well,
me
I
that
started
look.
out how we're created, so I'm trying to figure out where you're gonna go with this one.
Okay. Do you think that we innately know how to change memories? Like it's built into us?
Well, yeah. Well, let me just say this: there is a natural system that we all do could collapse bad memories. Could. And it's basically like it's a part of my understanding. It's the bad good collapse and or neuroscience. How to change a memory, you've got to introduce something into the old memory they're dealing with. So there's got to be introduction, a new something in the old memory for it to be able to be updated and changed. Now, the brain does it all the time anyway. And this is here's an example, and I'll come back to this. Here's an example. Let's say for you're a cave woman living out in the cave world, and you and your best friend, you walk upon this nice, beautiful, well-colored lake. Beautiful. And you walk around, there's berries around the edges, and the water is clean and crystal clear, and you swim, and you go back and you tell your tribe, look, I found this amazing place. I just love this place. It's so great. There's berries, the water's clean. So now you have a good memory. Good
Hmm.
memory, right?
Very good. Yeah.
Right. And then another day you decide you and your friends go back to the same place and you're there and you're swimming and all of a sudden a big crocodile grabs one of your friends and takes
Oh,
him under. And then next thing you know, you got bees swarming you and stinging you all over and you take off running. Now your memory has now been updated. The happy memory no longer is a good memory. It's a fearful memory. All right. Now that's how the brain naturally updates memories. It's a part of the operating system.
mhm.
So the number one coping skill that we all possess, I feel bad, so I want to avoid my bad feelings. So you're gonna go over here and drink something. Ah, so good. I love this stuff. and you're feeling good. But the problem is you escaped over here to feel good, and it doesn't change anything.
Interesting.
How the brain can be updated, you have to introduce a new feeling. So if you're over here, now, if you do this, it'll work. If you're over here, "Oh, I feel so good." And as you're feeling good, you think about what happened. You could take this feel good and it could be interjected into that memory. Therefore, the memory will be adjusted, just like the bad memory was changed. A good memory was changed into a bad memory.
Yeah. Yeah.
Now, bad memory can be updated too. I'm on the train, and this guy with four kids sat in my little train cubicle. And these kids were brats. They're bouncing off the wall, screaming, taking my stuff and moving all this on. I said, for God's sake. I said, why don't you take control of these kids? I said. He goes, I'm sorry. We just came from the hospital and their mother just died.
Mm.
All right, now
Oh, wow.
all of a sudden, I have a shift, don't I? Now
Hmm.
this experience was bad. Now I become understanding.
Yeah,
So
exactly.
this is
Wow.
the adjustability of memory. Now,
Mhm.
what I do with my system, we can change the worst, most horrific memory you could ever imagine, oftentimes in a very short time. I mean, I've worked with the worst possible memories you could ever imagine: rapes, beatings, murders, you name it. I've seen it, I worked it, and I cleaned it up. And literally, they can go back, they know it happened, but it doesn't seem like it's real anymore.
Mhm.
It's almost like it's like they read it in a book, but it's not you.
Mm.
Now, because I always say that memories buried alive. I say never die, but that's not true. Never die, which means when you have an experience, it goes in your brain. If you never adjust that memory, anytime you think about what happened, whoosh, you feel real. It feels like it's happening now. It's
Mhm.
still alive. Because when you think of a bad memory, and it could be a good one, a bad memory, you're right there in it. You're feeling it as if you're there.
Right.
Call that a
Mhm.
hypnotic trance, a hypnotic state. Good memories do the same thing. So what we want to do is take the bad, flatten it out, update it to where it's no longer bad. That's
Mhm.
the art of changing the self. Knowing the self and knowing your internal world. If you don't like being poor, you're tired of feeling like you're always rejected. And if you think you're a black sheep, welcome. I attract black sheep all across
Yes.
the world. It's the
Yeah,
black sheep that's going to make a difference in the world. You know?
yes, that's your specialty.
Yeah. I
They're the
mean,
best.
so what we got to do is we got to update ourselves. And it's breaking the rules of culture. You're not
Yes.
supposed to change memories. You're supposed to
Mm.
suffer forever.
Yes. That's
And
some
that's
belief
not,
systems.
and again, and they say, well, if I change my bad memories, who will I be? I said, happier, more in control, and you'll attract healthier people. It's like this
Yes.
one woman, she's from Eastern European, and we're working on stuff, really big stuff, right? And she says, when we get together, my friends and I say you have a pissing contest, and basically means they talk about how bad their life is. Who has the worst life? They're talking about my husband this and all that. And so they reminisce and replay and rehearse the shits of the world. And does that make your life any better? No, it just creates a community who hates the world, and be miserable.
Hmm.
I said, what happens if you go and you say, my husband and I had great sex. My kids are making great grades in school. We got a raise, we got a new car. And she said, it'll hurt other people's feelings.
Hmm.
So again, some people if I'm happy, the woman said, if I heal my body, my husband will leave me. I said, why if you heal your body? She says, he has a purpose for living to take care of me while I'm sick. If I'm not sick, he has no job. I said, you only have one: being sick with a husband and being well with no husband. I said, there's one more option you didn't look at: being well, you and him having sex, going traveling, doing all kinds of amazing things.
Right.
Connection, holding hands, and you're loving life.
Yes.
So they
Yeah.
create down if I do, down if I don't.
Right. Yeah. Hmm. And you create that based on your inner references, your
Hmm.
program.
Hmm.
Right.
Hmm.
So then
Yeah.
in regards to the memory with when you've had a really negative experience. So I'm just thinking of a certain memory right now, and I can see the violence that took place, but
Hmm.
that's not like, I have no feeling, I have no emotion with it. But what I see on another part of this where we've changed the memory is very positive and it's very bright. And there's no fear to it. So because you said that when you change a memory, it's almost like a story that's written, it's distant from you.
Right.
That's what it feels like. That's what I'm seeing here. But how does that work with the brain? Like, what is
Well,
happening? Is
well,
it
well, first,
different
well,
aspects?
let me ask you a question. The memory you're talking about, is the original memory still in your head? Is the negative experience still there?
It's not the same. Like, it's
So,
very
all
different.
right. So it's
And
not the same. So is it negative or is it positive?
I know what happened, but I
Yeah.
don't see it that way anymore.
Okay. So here's the thing about memory. If you go back to the memory and you don't have a negative experience in your mind, it's positive. But you know something negative happened. It's almost like I was born, but I have no memory of it.
True.
You knew you're born,
Yes. Yeah.
but there's no proof other than you know it. So
Hmm.
yeah, because I tell the story about being beat with a hammer by my father. It's now it's not a true story, but when at one time it controlled my existence. So it's all in how your brain internalize and represent things. So the cause of all problems is how you internalize it, how you perceive it, how you replicate it, not only in your mind, but you attract and pull into you and act from whatever's inside. So again, if you saw violence and in your mind you don't have any feelings, but you can still see the violence, you're not finished with the memory. The memory does have the element of negative control.
Hmm.
Because again, memories have five basic components to make it real.
Yeah.
Uh, the feelings is one fifth of memories. Like some people say, the EFT people, of course, the cause of all problems is disrupting your energy system. And I'm talking about this. I said, listen, if you have a negative image in your mind of an experience, but you feel nothing, you still got the problem.
Hmm.
And
Absolutely.
and they said, what do you mean? I said, well, she says, I have a memory I worked on. I have no negative feelings with it. I said, okay. And so I teach there's six basic ways of re-imprinting memories or updating memories. And I said, look at their faces and their expressions. All of a sudden, she starts to cry because, again, we have this capacity, and some people don't feel because they learn to keep the feelings away, but the trauma is still in their head.
Hmm.
And it's called fight or fright, freeze fright. And so you distance yourself. It doesn't mean it's gone. And of course, I'm just using an example. Crystal comes to see me. She said, I've already gave that to God. It doesn't bother me anymore. And I said, okay. I've already worked on it. I already dealt with it. I said, okay. So let's go check and see how good of a job you did. So I'll put them in the kitchen, which is in the memory. And sure enough, it's still there. They're still crying. They still feel emotions. So I'd sometimes spend a whole session on all the memories they thought they dealt with. They dealt with it, but they never finished it. So for me, when we have you or anybody else, you've got to have a finished product. That means it doesn't bother you. You can't even make it bother you because you know it's over and it's not real and it's not true. That's the big difference.
Yes, and learn the skills. And right
Mhm.
here on the podcast, Robert answers questions that you are asking, whether you're asking by sending the office an email or you're just thinking of these questions. And it's been a lifelong question. Many people will experience answers by just listening to what Robert has to say.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely, guys. There's a lot of you guys out there searching and seeking some relief. Um, Having the ability to change the number one cause of all your problems, which is memory, will set you free. I always tell everyone pretty much, I said, if you want to have a better quality of life, go inside yourself and change how they treated you. Change the memories of what your parents did. Change the memories of what your siblings did. Change how you represent what happened at school. Change how you represent the accidents, the illnesses, Change the your how you represent your body, sexuality, the sexual experiences that were unpleasant or unhealthy. Change how you've handled money and how money was handled around you. You change how you represent the world from your past. You're going to redesign a future. Because, see, the truth is, your brain is a recycler. It recycles experiences over and over again. You keep repeating the cycle and thinking, even though you think it's new, it's a repeat. And I think that's when, like Jesus said something, let the dead bury the dead. They don't know what they do. That's you. You're acting and not knowing it. You're doing the same thing over and over again. You're feeling the same feelings. And guys, haven't you noticed everywhere you go, you feel the same? You see the same basic world, the same thing. There's always that one person at work that bothers you. There's always something, seem like. And if there's one problem here, there's another problem here. There's a pain here. It moves over there and it moves over here. It keeps moving because this is a processing. And if you want to be healthier, you want to be free, learn how to change what you hold within you.
That's
You know,
right.
your brain recycles pain all the time, and it builds to build bigger pain.
Yes, this is the answer you've been searching for. It really is. I know that
Mhm.
sounds like cliche, but it really is the answer
Oh
that you've
yeah.
been looking for. Do you have any closing thoughts for our listeners?
Well, I think the most important thing, guys, if it makes sense, do what makes sense. Learn to be the master of your own mind. I call it directed mindfulness. Being very mindful of what you have within you. If it's something not good, adjust it. And as you adjust it, you become free. We don't oftentimes reminiscing our past experiences because if it did, it'd make us feel crazy. It doesn't mean they're gone. It's just they're sitting dormant, waiting for you to stumble into the room of all the pains and stuff, and you're having your panic attack again. So if you're tired of suffering and you're tired of being hurt and feeling sad and beating yourself up, there is a way out. It's called change yourself from within yourself. If you don't know how to do it, come, I'll teach you. And
That's
I
right.
guarantee you it will work. It will work.
Yeah, and that panic attack, it's just a symptom. It's there telling you that there's
Yeah.
something deeper within.
Now, panic attacks try and protect you based on a concept and idea in the past. So learn to be your best friend, guys. Learn to be the master of your own thoughts, and you'll manifest a life way beyond you could ever imagine because what you hold within, you attract. So attract something better because you are better inside.
That's right. Well, thank you so much for sharing today. So much wisdom and truth. Re-listen to this podcast, share it with your friends. I actually recommend listening to the podcast again. Take notes.
Mm-hmm.
You will hear this differently from different perspectives. And so I've done
Mm-hmm.
that with Robert's material over the years. I will just listen to it and then I'll hear a different perspective and I'll learn something new with this
Mm-hmm.
same material. All right. So thank you so much for joining us on another episode of the Robert Jean Experience. And remember to sign up for Robert's 5-day free online course. You will learn how to change the structure of your mind, the structure of memories, and learn how to change yourself.
Mm-hmm. Peace.
Peace.
Peace. All right.
Peace.
Peace. Inner peace creates world peace.
Yes. So if you want to know how to work with your memories, change the references on the inside of you, don't be afraid. I know that it can be, or yes, let me redo that.
You got yourself.
Be
Don't be
afraid.
afraid.
Don't be.
Say, be strong.
Yes, be exactly. Yes. Okay.
Be
I
strong and
think
persistent.
yes. So if you want to learn how to change those memories, change your inner references. I don't know if I
Be,
want to say be
be
strong. No.
strong. Persist, learn, and overcome.
Yeah, but marketing. So I don't see that for marketing. But So because be strong, they're like they don't feel strong.
Well, again, educate yourself, be persistent, and keep them growing,
Yeah. Right.
and make the right decision and take a Robert's course.
Yeah.
Or
Yes,
let
that's
Robert
what
do
I
a
want to
session
go
on you.
to. That's what I want to go to. All right. So if you want to learn how to change your memories and change those inner references, you need to learn how to I don't know what I'm saying. I
All
don't
right,
know.
let's do it again. Let's
Yeah.
start. I'll teach you what to say. If you're
Okay.
if you're tired of being controlled of your past and tired of being miserable, there is a way out. It's called learning how to be in control of the self. Learn to be the master of your own mind and be strong, be persistent, and take a course from Robert or get a session. He'll change your life.
Ah,
That was easy.
yeah, for you. Okay. Um, okay.
Everything he said.
Yes. Well, I there's got to be a different way to say it because if I say it like that, it doesn't feel authentic. So,
Oh, part isn't a good thing. But
okay.
let's think about it. Was that good?
That was very good. Except for my stuff.
Well, I'm leaving it in there too, by the way. Yeah, that's good. That means that shows that you're human
Oh, are you
and you're
serious?
no longer perfect anymore.
Okay. You
Give
know what
up the
came up for
perfection.
me in that it has to do with I'm bad because I made a mistake. Like I made a mistake. I didn't know how to talk there. And it's like I freeze up and it
Mhm.
reminded me of school. It reminded me of my
There you
dad.
go. There you
And
go.
so we hit on it right there. Um,
So,
and then I
what
went inward. I can feel myself going inward. I just about started crying.
really? Wow.
Yes. I felt it. So it was right there. It was good. But
So
now,
now what you got to do is watch this video again. When you get to that point, tap it through and then check it again and make sure you change it where you'll be different. I don't know if you've noticed this, but you're a whole lot different now doing these podcasts when we first start. You're just like a little scared little rabbit when we first started.
right. I
I
believe,
mean,
yes.
you can see it. You've already started
Wow.
shifting.
Well, that is great news. Because I know that in the past I would have needed permission to speak. Like it's my turn to speak, and you never interrupt a man in
I
the
like that idea.
I believe that.
I'm just kidding. I interrupt all the time.
Right. Oh gosh. No, I think you're an advocate for women. So
And men too. I mean, it's really a
yes.
because
Yeah, exactly.
I
Yeah.
mean, because be honest with you, I mean, I honestly think women are the superior of the races, really, because they had to put up with a lot of stuff, you know.
You sure did.
Yeah. And of course, the sad thing is they raised all these men to be the way they are too, because
Oh,
of bad programming that they had
oh,
based on the cultural trainings.
wow.
So the cycle continues. Both players play the role.
Wow. I didn't think of that. You do think of all the angles, don't you? You see it from from a wide perspective.
Well, there has to be a balancing act. There has to
Yeah.
be a balancing act. And if, again, when you see the world, if you see the mind not broken, your problem is not a failure, but a success, then you start looking at how I became so successful at being miserable. And when you figure that out, you just change the ingredients and update it, and then you won't be miserable anymore.
Hmm. Yeah.
So
I'm
that's the
gonna change
key.
it. Yeah, I'll change it and I'll I'll see.
So now what you gotta do is go watch the video, tap and change it, see yourself acting differently and feeling stronger.
Hmm.
That's smart, huh? And also watch these videos and tap on your voice, tap on your tone, tap on your behavior, whatever it is, to where you get at peace with yourself.
Right. Yeah.
I mean,
I can watch myself and I can see where my tone goes weak because it's like,
mhm.
yes, or okay. Like I'm being obedient, good girl.
Well, nothing wrong with that if you want to be, but as long as you're not putting yourself down as you do that. I mean, I'm obedient too, you know?
To who?
Yes, police officer, here's my license.
Oh, yes.
Not that it ever happened, but if you get pulled over, you got to be obedient.
Oh,
I
right,
stop at red lights. That's being obedient.
right,
I pay
right.
my taxes on time or before. That's obedient.
Hmm. Yeah, I think it's different because even if I go to the border, and I think I'm better now, but if I go to the border and the border officers, they're there, I'm always like, meanwhile, I don't have any cigarettes, any guns, there's no alcohol, we don't do that stuff. I have none of it. And yet they ask me those questions, and I'm like, oh no,
That's because inside you, you're guilty still. Inside of you, you're still guilty
why? Though that doesn't
because,
make sense because I don't
well,
have any of it.
hold on. I mean, you don't have any of those things, but inside yourself, your core belief, you're guilty.
Right? Oh, the core belief,
The
guilty.
core belief, again, remember your religions teach you that.
Totally.
Your families put you down, they
Yeah.
impact that.
Hmm.
I mean, I used to feel guilty and I know I didn't do it, you know,
Right. Yes. Okay.
and I'm innocent. I had nothing to do with that, but I still feel guilty
Right.
because it's a part of the system of the
Hmm.
world.
Yeah. I think I went a little to the other side for a little bit where I rebelled because I'm like, F you, I'm going through this border and I don't give a shit what you think. And
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I
I
mean,
think it's still there.
it's like a little girl I worked with. I mean, she isn't little. She's in her, I don't know, 50s or 60s, whatever it is. So as a little girl, her sisters picked on her, beat her up, tied her up, laughed at her, made fun of her. And so that was her early childhood training. She's the youngest of four. But the weird thing is, this is emotional training. So when she goes to school, guess who she becomes? The abusing one, the controlling one, because of her emotional trainings. Now, some will not. Some will always remain the victim and find people to victimize them, and some don't. So these are belief systems or motifs. Of course, I mean, you look at the Christian model. Adam and Eve. It's Eve's fault. But
Mhm.
yet, when you go to the Sistine Temple in Rome, you look at the ceiling. The snake has boobs and long hair.
Wow.
So again, it's still blaming the woman.
Yeah.
You know, it's not. Again, that's nonsense. The whole thing, and that's just a metaphor. That's not. It's not an actual event. It's a metaphor.
Hmm.
And what's the metaphor really is about?
Hmm.
God says, don't eat of the knowledge, don't partake of the knowledge of good and evil. Because when you partake of the knowledge of good and evil, you shall die. Now, what does that mean? If you judge it evil, you judge it bad, that's the moment you die.
Hmm.
When
Wow.
you judge yourself bad or good, there's an ending. You're trapped.
What does that mean? There's an ending. So the moment you make
So
a judgment, what
that's
ends?
it's the judgment that causes us harm.
Right.
I'm a bad person.
Right. Right. It's what, okay. Yeah.
Yeah. So again, if you look even at what Matthew 6:1 says, judge not, you be not judged. For the same measure you judge, you will be judged. So what does that mean? When you're passing judgment, that's your death. That's your curse. That's your pain. That's your thing that you get to recycle. And it starts inside you.
Right. Yes.
So it's a judgment call.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Agree. All
good
right.
job. Education
Yeah.
101.
Yes, exactly. That was great.